Wolf back again with another sort of short, kind of like, just here's a game that I know about that's pretty cool that I just don't really see anything about anymore type of video. This game is Split Second. This was released in 2010 and it's a racing game, but it's got a little bit of a twist because it has power plays, which I'll get into a little bit later on when I start actually talking about the game itself. But anyway, something interesting about this game is that it was published by Disney Interactive Studios, who, fun fact, also were the publishers of all of the Club Penguin, like Nintendo DS and Wii games. I think there's only like 3 of them anyway, but they were the ones who published those games also. So I really hope that somewhere out there exists like an internal company email that mentions this game and a Club Penguin game in the same like email. I think that would be really cool, because if you guys watch the channel, you know Club Penguin was like a huge part of my childhood. Anyway, this game came out in 2010, like I said. It was one of those games that I remember hearing about a little bit, but not a ton. Like, I remember it was on my radar because I really like racing games, and even younger me still really liked racing games, so I remember like paying a lot of attention to it, so I saw a lot about it, but I don't remember if it was actually promoted that much or if it was just one of those things that I was interested in it, so I remember it a lot more. But anyway, it was promoted, I know that at least. But anyway, like I said, it's a racing game and there's power plays in it. Now the power plays are why I'm going to title this video something along the lines of if Watch Dogs was a racing game, because if you think of Watch Dogs and how in that game you could like trigger different hacks and stuff to crash enemy cars when you were running away from the police or in races or whatever it might be, this game has almost the same concept, although like way before Watch Dogs, and it's explained differently, but that's almost exactly what power plays are. As you drive, you do things like drift and jump and draft other cars and stuff, and you build up this meter, and when the other cars that are in front of you are near something like a bus or something like that will explode or move or anything like that, you can trigger a power play and a little icon will pop up telling you that you can do it, and when you do that, it will maybe wreck that other racer or racers. Now, that might sound kind of like a gimmick, and it sort of is. It's kind of a gimmick to try to make the game stand out from other racing games. But the thing is, it actually works like pretty well. It's a fun gameplay concept, and it does add quite a bit of uniqueness to this game. Because there has been times where I've been playing before, and like, you're right near the finish line, and you have that one last opportunity to pull a power play, and you wreck like 3 people and manage to win the race in like the last 10 seconds of the game. It really does keep it moving, and also it adds some unique advantages and disadvantages of being different points in the pack of cars, because if you're in first place, good, you're in first place, but you also can't pull power plays on anybody behind you. So your ability to pull power plays on other players has been pretty much like revoked, whereas now you have become a main target because you're in front of all of the other racers. However, if you're in last place, then you have the opposite advantage. You're in last place, but your power plays are more effective because they can destroy other players. And like I said, it's actually a pretty interesting concept and one that works surprisingly well and kind of better than I remember. Also, overall, the driving physics in this game, pretty good. I remembered when I was younger, I thought they were kind of slippery when I was younger, but now time has gone on. I've played a lot of racing games and stuff. The driving physics are actually pretty good, and the drifting in this game in particular is really well done because you actually have to like pay attention to your throttle. You don't want to push it too hard or else you'll spin out, but you don't want to push it too lightly or else you'll drift into a wall and you won't drift far enough. So that's really cool that they did that. There's also some really interesting other types of races and stuff. This game kind of takes place, it's one of those frame story things where the races are explained as you're in a TV show, like a competition. And so there's some unique challenges, like one of the parts of this video, one of the gameplay things that I recorded was there's this one type of challenge mode where you have to drive around these trucks and you get more points every truck you drive around, so you've got to try to keep doing that and like beat the high score. So overall, Split Second is actually a pretty cool game, and like I said, just to kind of justify the title again, it really is kind of like if you took the driving aspect of Watch Dogs, but it was actually like good handling, and the power plays were like, well, the hacks from Watch Dogs were actually like really cool big events. So I mean, and the amazing thing about that is that this game came out, like I said, quite a while before Watch Dogs came out, so it's one of those things where you kind of wonder if maybe one of the developers played this a couple years before and that influenced their ideas for Watch Dogs. Also, it's one of those games that despite being 10 years old, a couple weeks ago, I tried to hop on the multiplayer on PS3 because that's what I own it on. There's actually still people playing, so managed to play some multiplayer. I sucked at it, but that was pretty cool that people were still playing it, at least as of a couple weeks ago. Which, speaking of being bad at the game, one of the downfalls that I've kind of run into with this game is that it gets really, really challenging. I'm on like episode 6 of the campaign, not sure if I'll really pick it up and keep playing because I've got other games that I want to try to finish and stuff, but the game gets really challenging later on. It gets kind of hard to keep up with other racers, but if that's the type of game that you like, then that's maybe a positive thing. But anyway, overall, just sort of another game that I think has sort of fallen by the wayside over the years and isn't necessarily as fondly remembered as some other games, but is still really a pretty cool game. And especially when you think about how if people liked that idea of Watch Dogs and like the whole being able to trigger events to wreck your opponents type of thing, and like would be like, man, that would be cool as its own game. Well, that game has already existed for a long time. But anyway, I've got a couple more of these videos on the way that are just sort of cool, semi-obscure games. So if you guys like them, make sure to like the video and stuff and subscribe, things like that. And I'll see you guys in other videos, and bye-bye. Oh, and also, I'm just gonna let the rest of the gameplay show in case you guys just want to see some more gameplay. I recorded like 15 minutes or so, so that's just what the rest of this video is gonna be, is just normal gameplay without commentary.